favorite site is xjtalk.com. It's where you go when you're not off-road.
Good evening. You guys know the routine. We're running a little late tonight. Get a little late start on the pre-show. Sorry about that. I just got in from being out of town Tuesday, Wednesday, and part of the day. And when I say out of town, it's not jet lag, it's moving truck lag, because that's what I was riding in as a IT professional for the company I'm working for. They had some things they needed to move, and we made use of killing two birds with one stone, so to speak. So let's see. Josh was making a lot of microphone noise when I first started, so let's unmute him and see if he can make the right kind of noise.
Hey guys. Yeah, sorry about that. I was pulling some stuff out, and well, things don't always go as planned, especially with my Butterfingers.
So we're going to try to do live calls tonight amongst the regular show, not just live calls. So we've got a few things here to do. Bear with us, and we'll get started as quickly as we can.
Which reminds me, I need to go digging through the show notes and find our live call-in show for information. Sitting here scrolling through emails, and I see a Jeep publicity and Jeep news, and I'm being half dyslexic, and I combined the two into Jeep nudity as I read them. There we go. Had to go clear back to episode 102's show notes for that live call-in number.
Tracing down an audio issue with the call-in line. I've got everything moved, so I haven't checked it yet.
Oh, okay. Do we need to do a test real quick? You want me to use my cell phone call-in?
No, it's all right.
All right.
Ooh, I heard something.
It was me fluffing my pillow.
Those aren't pillows.
I have the most absolutely uncomfortable chair in the world here in my studio. Keep saying one of these days I'll do something about it, and I don't.
That's strange. I don't see it coming up on the compressor limiter gate.
The stream from the call-in line?
Are you hearing that?
I'm not hearing anything. I hear you.
So you're not hearing the conference muted thing?
No, all I hear is background music and you. We can skip the call-ins, man. It's not a big deal. tease it this show, and we'll have everything set up for next show.
Yeah, I guess so. I can hear it, but I don't know why you can't. Oh, I got really excited there for a second. Email from a new YouTube subscriber. I thought Ron Howard had subscribed to us. It's actually Rob Howard.
Ah, it's just a nom de plume. He's going in hiding. What the heck is going on with my audio now? Once again, my monitor just kind of dropped down substantially in volume level. I didn't touch anything. Oh well. I wonder if I got a tube that's starting to go out.
That's a possibility. They do that, just like light bulbs.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have a Wrangler segment this week. I know I don't have one prepared. It's kind of one of the reasons why I was hoping to get this call-in line thing working so we could fill with that. And I do not have a Jeep tips ready either. Just checking the email here real quick, make sure Rob didn't send one in. So XJTalk got a new follower on Twitter. It looks like it's a podcast and has an interesting name, Sweet Feathery Jesus.
That's certainly creative. All right, extra points for creativity.
Going to hell, but, not for not being creative. Jesus with feathers is blasphemy, as we all know. Yep, nope, don't see anything from Rob. So if you're just joining us, we are in the process of getting the show together. As I may have mentioned, I am back in from being out of town this week. May even sound a little tired. I wanted to squeeze in a little nap, get rid of some of the jet lag that I was experiencing. I was down in the southern tip of Texas, known as the Valley.
trying to just shoot from the hip here really quickly, brainstorming to see if there's a live topic discussion that we could do for a Jeep Tips tonight.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And I don't know why, but on my end, my video looks like it's frozen.
You look concerned.
In deep focus.
So I would just call back in.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. All right.
Not sure. Looks like you might be frozen again. Nope, you're moving.
Sorry, moving.
It's alive.
I am alive.
So were you asking the studio audience for any Jeep tip ideas or?
No, I was trying to come up with it on my own.
Ask the audience, man.
Well, I don't see. Hey, there's somebody in chat tonight. Fantastic.
Well, they may not be chatting, but they're there. $127, right?
Yes.
You know the show's going to be starting really soon whenever the one of the hosts says, hey, what episode is this? Should be able to go through these really quickly. I think we're getting a little echo, a little bounce back from Skype. I hear the music. I don't know if you're hearing it kind of come back on it.
No, that's just got to be. It's got to be a Skype feedback or something. I don't know.
So let's try calling back in and see if we can get rid of it.
Oh, still there. Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, it's kind of subtle. It doesn't. Well, now I heard myself. Let's see if it cleans up.
Yeah, usually it takes a little bit for Skype to get warmed up or something. I don't know. Always like when we do a Jeep Tips or a Wrangler segment or something like that, and I'm off the mic for an extended period of time. It when I come back, it's horribly echoish.
Oh, interesting. So they must be dynamically changing things. Okay, so I need to find the voicemails. 27. I didn't get a chance to remind anybody this week. I didn't last week, but we had some very good and varied voicemails. This week, it's going to be the Nikki G Show. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
All right, guys. You have a good one. I'll catch you later. Bye.
Got to get you in the habit of going over there to Amazon and grabbing that stuff so that on situations like this where we have a late start, you can be grabbing some of the stuff that I'd have to do. Do you want to make any kind of announcement as to why we split last week's show, or just leave it as...
I've got it in the show notes that we should probably give some kind of explanation and apology.
Okay. I had a question about it, so that's what made me think.
So got a couple of ideas coming from the chat room for the Jeep Tips ideas. We can talk about frame stiffeners or steering upgrades.
Steering upgrade sounds interesting. I don't know that much about frame stiffeners, even though I got some. Or we can do both.
Let's briefly touch on frame stiffeners. It's not
Hello?
something that we
Hello?
talk about too much. What was that?
I don't know what the hell he was doing. That was Nikki G.
Oh, okay.
Hello? Hello?
That butt dial you?
Otis, is that you? Convert.
This is Dan from the 4x4 podcast, and you're listening to the XJ Talk Show.
Okay, so let's see. So if you're just now joining, we're getting a little late start. I was out of town, just came back in today, and that always puts me late because I'm not used to doing things out of the norm. Makes me tired. Okay, so those, let me just check those real quick.
Hey, this is Nikki G. Hello? Hey, it's Nikki G.
You know, I might have time to actually pull up the show notes.
Hey, that might be a good idea. just saying, you know.
Yeah, I set an alarm because I needed to take a little nap, and I don't even remember the alarm going off. I think I'd laid down about 7:50 Central Time, and my wife was in there waking me up about 9:20.
Oh, geez.
Had the alarm set for 9:15, so I don't remember hearing it. Okie dokie, so Amazonian. You know, it's funny, all these people were buying up domain names in the hope that some company or some movie would say, hey, we need that, and they'd say, well, sure, I only spent $35 for it or $10 for it, but you can have it for $35 million. And I think that's what was one of the
$1 billion.
$1 billion. So anyway, I have this suspicion that that's the reason why you have some of these really strange domain names like Amazon. It's you know it as a river in the Nile, and so that's a joke. You know as a river in South America. So.
All right, man. We're approaching a half hour late. We about ready to light the fuse?
Well, I don't have the Amazon stuff yet, so. Did you forget?
I haven't scrolled down in the show notes for a minute, so I didn't see.
You want to join in helping with this show, or you just want to criticize?
Well, I don't know how to get over to the Amazon stuff. You gave me a login a while back, but I've never used it.
I'm just messing with you. Okay, so open that. Let's see. We did this 2 weeks ago, so this is for the entire month of April that I'm looking at. I guess we're just going to have to go through this and look for things that
some of the stuff, but yeah, go ahead and post it up, and I'll delete really quick some of the stuff that I know that we've already done.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We'll just have to skip the things that look familiar, and if we don't, oh well. I don't guess it will matter if there's a bit of a little repeat there. Just got to do a little editing of the data so we can read it. Come on, Excel. I don't really recognize any of this stuff.
Well, that's a good thing.
Regulator rectifier, Yamaha Phaser 600 R6/1 motorcycle 1998-2001. What the hell? Oh, okay. It said Yamaha, and I was thinking audio, but that's Yamaha motorcycle.
I heard the R1 in there, or R6, and I was, yeah, that,
So I will copy those 2 rows. Oh, I think I remember this one. PS2 Bluetooth headset Urban Camo. How do they? Because that way they can't see you in your living room while you're shooting them from upon high. All right, so get over to the ye old show notes. The XJ Talk Show live broadcast, new time, 11 p.m. Central Time. Thank you. That's just me making a joke, guys, because it's taken so long. Anything over 35 seconds is a long time for me. This is why I can't wear satin underwear. Okay.
here's a cheap tip for you. Silk boxers and flannel sheets do not go well together.
You can break a leg if you run and jump on the bed. You straight shoot out like a burrito, hot burrito in summertime. Okay. So do you see the Amazon you bought what?
Yep.
Always a good thing. Oh, and now I need to get the opener. And that would be in ye old Dropbox. Come on, computer. At least we didn't have to adjust the cropping of your image, your video feed. It's probably not perfect, but it's pretty close. $50, my goodness. Okay, I think I'm set up here. Something seems strange. I actually have a screen with nothing on it.
Well, you got 4 now. You should have something on all of them.
Well, I've got show notes here above. I've got the video mixer in the middle. Oh, I know what I've done. I do not have this one, which I can move over here so I can monitor the video feed and chat. Well, I see Cartman 4241. I see 4 Light Jeeper, Josh B,
and that's me,
and Larry Franco. Okay. Need to be at the top of the show notes. And I need to make them a little shorter so I don't look like I'm looking at the ceiling. It gets up there quite high. Yeah, it gets up there quite high. I mean, this other monitor is the top of the lower monitor is about eye level, and this other monitor that's above that goes well above my head. So It didn't quite very much look like, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a monitor. All right, so we're going to do that. And I'm going to read that. Okay. So we've got video going out. Remember to wave.
Yes.
Be shortly after I start the opener. That was the other thing I wanted to do. Get the right one up. That always helps. Alrighty. None of that, young man.
Yeah, I know.
We interrupt this broadcast for an important XJ Talk Show news break. Attention, local residents. There is a serial cuddler on the loose. Lock up your daughters, lock up your wives, and most importantly, lock up your body pillows. For a full description of the suspect, stay tuned till after the show.
Hey, stud. It's time for the XJ Talk Show.
All right, I forgot.
Now, here's my two...
Successful test. Yeah, I forgot about it. I could barely hear you anyway, so the audio level was a little loud.
Uh-oh.
In fact, let's just adjust that real quick. Give me a little audio.
Little audio.
It's
Tiny bit of audio.
It's actually quite loud, so I'll just have to turn the music down a little bit more. All right, so we're going to fade back over here. All right, so now we're going to start her back up.
We interrupt this broadcast for an important XJ Talk Show news break. Attention, local residents. There is a serial cuddler on the loose. Lock up your daughters, lock up your wives, and most importantly, lock up your body pillows. For a full description of the suspect, stay tuned till after the show.
Today's podcast brought to you by Audible.com. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or even your MP3 player. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial simply by going to www.audibletrial.com/XJTalkShow.
Hey, stud. It's time for the XJ Talk Show. Now, here's my two favorite boys, Tony and Josh.
Well, thank you very much. It's episode 127. I am Josh. You know me as Northwest 99XJ. Oh, wait a minute. That's the travel lag, Josh. I'm sorry. This is Mutteroy.
Yeah, he's known as Tony. I am the guy who's known as Josh, otherwise known as NW99XJ or Northwest 99XJ.
And Northwest is a bit of a misnomer since you're in the Middle East, right?
Yes, no, I'm up here in Alaska.
Alaska would be a lot of fun, especially with Jeeps, you know?
Now, guys, I'm up here in the beautiful state of Oregon. Tony is a little farther south. He's down in Texas. We hook up via Skype, and you are watching us live on YouTube right now, or possibly listening to us via podcast.
Yep. Wow, you know, we had a bunch of downloads last show, even though it was half a show, Josh. We're going to get into more of that later and give you a little explanation as to why we're too cheap to spend that much money.
Something like that.
You'll understand what I'm talking about.
Yep, just hang in a little bit later in the show. We got all kinds of good stuff for you guys. We'll get into some tech and some funny and some entertainment and all kinds of good stuff, so stick around.
This is the XJ Talk Show, a podcast about Jeep Cherokees, off-roading, and the tech that you need to get you there and back. We're here to promote the web's most premier website for all that is Jeep Cherokee, xjtalk.com, the friendliest and most helpful Jeep site on the web. xjtalk.com encourages and answers all questions and concerns that the first-time XJ owners typically have without flaming or criticism, all while giving you the best, most in-depth articles and write-ups for the repairs and modifications to take your average XJ to the next level. Now get ready. It's the XJ Talk Show, and it starts right now.
This Week in Jeep.
Well, there's a couple guys out there that this week decided to do their very best to give us Jeep owners a very bad rep. There's two suspects riding in a green Jeep Cherokee twice attempted to abduct girls in southeast Queens. The first attempted abduction was in the vicinity of 111th and 208th Street in Queens Village. The second was in Hollis. The suspects, one of whom was armed in at least one of the incidents, was described as a black man and a Latino man, both estimated to be between the ages of 16 and 20. Now, police say an 11-year-old girl returning home from school noticed a green SUV was following her. The Latino suspect was driving. The black suspect, wearing a dark mask, exited the SUV and tried to talk to her. She ran away. Good girl. The suspects drove from the area, and it looks like they headed west into Hollis. Not long after the first incident, the suspects tailed a trio of girls. One a 10-year-old, the other two age 11. The girls told police they saw the Latino man behind the wheel hand a gun to the black man in the passenger seat, who pulled a mask over his head before exiting the truck. The girls ran off and hid behind a parked car as the suspects drove past. They circled back and made a second pass before driving off. The girls in the second incident said the SUV was a Jeep Cherokee and had a license plate beginning with 74. And this is all according to police reports. Now, this kind of stuff, guys, has got to stop. Nobody should be doing stuff like this to begin with. But if you're going to hold up a liquor store or rob a bank, man, don't do it in a Cherokee. Come on, people. Happy ending to this, guys. The bad guys got caught. They were recently arrested earlier today, and are in custody.
It was probably a two-wheel drive Cherokee anyway.
I'm guessing it was. Yeah, certainly not a four-wheel drive. So, Jeep Cherokee on crack, yes? Well, sales of the new Jeep Cherokee are sky high, and now the SUV is too. No, not this not-so-new Cherokee is, well, it's not smoking crack or high on meth, although some would say, its appearance would say otherwise. No, what I'm talking about here plays a little bit into one of the concepts I spoke about in the last couple of episodes that were to be debuted at the Easter Jeep Safari this year. One of those concepts was the Jeep Cherokee Dakar, which, like many of the other concepts, was more production than it was fantasy. No, a little while after its release, many off-road manufacturers got their hands on these. After some wrench turning and a fair amount of R&D, it was determined that it was going to be nearly impossible to lift the new 2014 Jeep Cherokee. Now, leave it to the Fiat engineers to prove us wrong, or in this case, it might actually be the guys over at Jeep, which finally stepped up and heeded the call of all of us true off-road enthusiasts. The Jeep Cherokee Dakar features a prototype Jeep Performance Parts 2-inch lift kit. Along with the hike in height, it gets a set of wide bolt-on fender flares stuffed with 33-inch tires on 17-inch wheels. Of course, all the typical stuff like rock rails, skid plates, and it also gets a new rear fascia that helps it give a vastly improved 39-degree departure angle. One of the things that was probably one of the most common complaints about the off-road capabilities of the Cherokee. It's also full of plenty of accessories available from the Mopar parts catalog and is done up in silver, steel, satin gloss paint with red accents. Honestly, guys, it doesn't look half bad for a new Cherokee. Now, with its extreme makeover, Jeep is clearly trying their hardest to convince the brand's faithful, and us here at the XJ Talk Show, that the new Cherokee's adventure chops make it a worthy successor to the original. Well, that's yet to be seen, and can make a good showing against, even the Wrangler. Now, in the rough stuff, that is. No confirmation yet as to whether the Jeep Performance 2-inch lift kit or the Dakar package as a whole will be available to be released to consumers anytime soon. Stay tuned on that, guys. I'll be sure to give you guys the full update as that develops. Hey, if you'd like to submit a story to be aired on This Week in Jeep or have a response to any one of our stories, please send an email to newstips@xjtalk.com.
Hey, this is Tim from Jeep Tubes, and you're listening to the XJ Talk Show.
xjtalk.com is where you go when you're not off-road. And now you can go to xjtalk.com when you're off-road too. Using your smartphone, install the Tap a Talk app, then search for XJ Talk. Take XJ Talk with you wherever you go. Jury duty, dinner with your spouse's parents, even, anywhere you need your XJ Talk fix.
xjtalk.com. It's where you go when you're not off-road.
So you guys know how much we love our YouTube subscribers, and we got a few to talk about tonight.
Oh, we sure do. Guys, if you're just making it on the list, well, chances are you've subscribed for a while. If you haven't heard your name yet, well, stay tuned. It takes us a while to go through this list. We're only doing them 4 at a time. First on the list tonight, Jackson Atkins.
And then we have, I want to say hairball, but it looks like Hair B 920.
And we also have Dean Murray. Hey, I recognize that name. Hi, Dean. How you doing?
Definitely recognize Dean. And then we have, oh my goodness, Frybird, or it's FYRBIRD 88.
That's Firebird 88. I'm guessing they have a 1988 Firebird in their midst.
My goodness, it would be nice if it was in pristine condition, but it's probably not.
Yep. Well, guys, keep up the subscriptions. They're adding up and stacking up every week. We love to see those numbers rise, so make sure you're telling a friend, and we'll see you on the list here soon.
491 subscribers.
So ordinarily, we dive into some reviews and some from Stitcher or iTunes or wherever else, and we don't have any of those to share with you today, but we do have some splaining to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this last episode 126, well, some things happened, and we weren't able to release the entire episode, in its entirety, and we had to split it up. Now, we're no strangers to splitting up the shows, but oftentimes it's for lengthy interviews and stuff like that. Rarely has it been done for a simple 1-hour show before. And there's an explanation for that, and Tony's going to share that with us now.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's really simple. As I alluded to at the big top of the show, we're cheap. And when I say we're, I mean me. We pay Libsyn to host our podcast, our audio podcast. And they recently changed their model in as much as they were going from a rotating 30-day thing, so that every 30 days, whatever you had stored online, it would fall off. So if we posted a show on the first of the next month, that show would fall off of our amount of storage that we were using, so we would have room to put on the next show. Well, they changed that. They went to a 30-day calendar or monthly calendar, so that you have in our case, the 400 megabytes worth of space until the first of the month, and then anything that was posted in that month gets erased. Yeah, you can still download it, but as far as what we have available to us, it all comes back to us. So unfortunately, and I think fortunately for them, I think this is the reason why they did it, because it kind of puts the pinch on folks towards the end of the month, probably like you guys paying bills. So it means that we could either chunk in another 50% increase to have additional space, or we could just split up the show, or we could have waited until the first to put up the whole show. So hopefully the half a show idea was better than a no show.
Yep, indeed. And we figured we got to give you guys at least something. So that's how that goes. So hopefully it doesn't run. We don't run into that at the end of every month. We'll see how that ends up going and adjust things accordingly. But I know a lot of you guys disapproved of having to wait for the second half, and we apologize for that. But again, it's something that's not going to happen too often, and we'll do our best to make sure it's at a minimum.
Yeah, and if it looks like, keep in mind they just changed this. We've just started running into these issues. We had the same issue last month, or I should say, in what's before April, March. We had the same problem in March. Handled it a little differently, but because of the way where the shows fell. And if this continues to be a problem, we'll step up. We'll get the pay the 50% more for their service, so we can have a little more space, so we don't run into this issue. Our main goal is to make sure that you're happy with the product that you're getting. And we didn't do anything to the video, so the YouTube video was available in its entirety last Monday when we released 126. So you could have gone and just listened to the second half by watching the video, and that wouldn't have hurt our YouTube numbers either, Josh.
Yeah, no, it certainly wouldn't have, and we haven't gotten the numbers back on all that yet. But if any time the podcasts aren't working for you guys, typically the show is available on YouTube, and you guys can go check out all of it in its video goodness over there, and that is YouTube /YouTube.com/xjtalk.
is simple as peas and carrots. So I thought I would take a moment here for our reviews and iTunes reviews, just to mention that we really would like to see you guys get in there and give us some reviews. iTunes, especially because there's a lot of folks using Apple devices listening and watching the show. So if you're an iTunes subscriber, maybe you don't use it, but you do have an account, please take just a few moments and go over there and give us a review. If nothing else, we'd like to keep the reviews active. Even if they're not all the time and 10 a day, that's fine. If we could just have a onesie, a twosie every so often, just to have some activity over there so people don't think the show has died or something.
Yep, it's all it takes is even having a friend head over there and just pop a few stars on the old review there, and leave a few words. They can be nice words, they can be other words, as long as there's not too many strings of 4-letter words involved there. We'll go ahead and make sure it gets on the air.
Yes. Oh, and don't forget about us on Stitcher. They also have a review process, and there may even be one on TuneIn, which we're also on there now. I'm not sure about Zune. Zune may have a one of those dang deals as well.
What is this Zune you speak of?
Zune? You don't remember Zune, the Microsoft answer to iTunes?
Oh, yes. No,
surely
I
you jest. Yeah, they
actually got a guy at work that still uses one of those.
Oh, that's amazing. You should take a picture of that.
I was just thinking about that. I need to take a picture of that.
Archaeologists will want to see that. That'll be a hell of a thing for them to dig up later, 1,000,000 years from now.
Amazon.com and the XJ Talk Show present You Bought What?
Joshy, tell us how this works, please, sir.
Yes, we have a lot of fun with it, guys, and, you do too. And you can get in on the fun as well. We do this every other week. It's the Amazon You Bought What segment. Guys, how this works is Amazon and the XJ Talk Show have a great little relationship going on. Amazon gives us a list of all the stuff that you guys buy. Now, how it works is you have to go over to xjtalk.com or xjtalkshow.com and click on the Amazon banner there. It takes you straight over to amazon.com where you can buy any old little thing that you want. You're not going to pay a dime more, not a red cent more, but Amazon has agreed to give us a small little kickback off of each one of those purchases. In addition to that, they give us a list of what you guys have been buying. And we have a little bit of fun with it, and you guys do too, apparently, with some of the curveballs that you've thrown us every now and again. It's a great way to support your favorite podcast and for us to, have the ability to keep the lights on over at the XJ Talk Show here. And we really appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving us over the years, and keep it up. Keep up the good work. We really appreciate it.
Great support. You guys have really stepped up. My gosh, I mean, we had a lot of activity this past month, this past April, even though it was tax month, Josh. So maybe some of these purchases are tax refunds or tax refunds to come.
It could be March, April, May. Sometimes those months, feast or famine, it being the tax season and everything. People are sometimes paying taxes with extra money. Sometimes people are getting some extra money and supporting the economy a little bit. And this list certainly would reflect some of the latter here. And we've got a few items here. Tony and I are each going to pick out a few out of the list. And if your item that you've purchased recently or sometime in the recent past doesn't make it onto the show, well, hang tight, guys. We've had a huge list. We don't get to everything. Tony and I pick and choose out of this. But regardless, even if your item doesn't make it on the air, I want you guys to know that we appreciate the support, and we ask you to continue to do so. So first on the list is something that I'm going to pull out of the automotive category. It's, just something really cool here, kind of along the same lines of something that I'll be doing to my own Jeep here very soon, just from a different manufacturer. This is the Rough Country item number 1117. This is the 1 to 1.5 inch rear shackle relocation kit. The one that I picked up is from HD Engineering, but basically does the same exact thing.
I like this one. This is always a good thing, especially with summertime coming up. The Super Stat thermostat, 195 degree Fahrenheit thermostat. Now, if you've heard that you can go with a 180, a 160, or whatever, it's not like an AC for your cooling system. It's always, I think you can get away with a 180, but just because you change the thermostat to a lower temperature opening setting, it's not going to make your Jeep run any cooler. Not once it gets to operating temperature.
Now, this is one that we've had on the list a few times, and I know we said it on, I think it was the last time we had the Amazon You Bought What segment, but there's been 3 more that have popped up on the list since then, and this is by author, friend of the show, Eric Zappi, the Jeep Cherokee XJ 1984 to 2001 advanced performance modifications and design. It's the performance how-to. It's basically the Jeep Cherokee Builder's Bible, guys. You got to get this thing. He's got 2 different publications out now, and they both are absolute must-haves for any Cherokee enthusiast out there.
Yeah, I need to get me a copy, and I'll just go ahead and say it now, Josh. We're going to be giving away a few copies of that book to our XJ Talk Show listeners, and we'll be telling you more about that here in the future, probably after I contact Eric and see if he wants to join us on the show again.
Oh, I'm sure that he would, and we'd definitely be glad to have him.
So I like this one since I have a Samsung Galaxy. This is for an S4. Mine's an ancient S2, but this is a Tech Armor Samsung Galaxy S4. It says not S4 active. That's interesting. I don't know what that means, Josh. High D clear screen protector. It's always good to have a nice clear thing between you and that glass, guys. Mine's been through hell. A lot of Jeep videos. I remember I was trying to hold it in my hand, and it slipped, and I went to grab it, and I actually slapped it, and it went. I was laying on my side at the time, and it went clear over me and landed on the concrete on the other side. Did not break. What? Did not break.
Yeah, I've kicked my phone out of the Jeep more than a few times. You know, kind of set it in between my legs on the seat, and you know, you're getting out of a 5.5-inch lifted Jeep Cherokee, and even with a guy who like me who's 6'3", there's a little bit of a step down. So you kind of scoot off of the seat and kick one leg over to get yourself squared out of the doorway there, and well, oftentimes there off goes the phone and flying across the parking lot. And yeah, mine has definitely taken a few beatings itself.
Hey, when you're by yourself getting out of your Jeep, do you go wee?
If I had a rope swing on the A-pillar, I certainly would. Well, in the DVD categories, guys, here's one that popped out. I'm going to have to share with you guys. It's Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo.
I just saw that. That's funny.
Oh, that's a classic one. Yeah, that's a funny movie. I wouldn't necessarily say it's one of what was Rob Schneider.
Yes.
Not certainly one of his best, but it's a good watch nonetheless.
Those Saturday Night Live guys, they don't make great movies, but they do make funny ones.
Yeah.
Entertainment. That's what it's all about. That's kind of like us, Josh. We may not be great, but we're entertaining.
Hey, it's entertainment, right?
You'll do, Piggy. You'll do. Anyway, so I think this is pretty cool. I'm a Billy Joel fan, or at least from some of his older stuff. Somebody purchased a DVD, Billy Joel live at Shea Stadium. I almost said Shea.
Yeah, I know that some of those live concert DVDs are absolutely spectacular with like true 7.1 surround and just spectacular HD videos. And some Billy Joel, I don't mind any of that at all. So that's a good purchase right there.
He was really good in Groundhog Day. I mean, playing the piano with the shades, that was good.
Oh, yeah. So in the mobile electronics category, something that's near and dear to my heart, we've got some 30 amp and 60 amp A&L fuses, a 2-pack of each, and the A&L fuse holder. For you guys who don't know the difference between like ATC and MTC and A&L, well, it's the difference between the different classifications of fuses and how big they are. And these A&Ls, well, they are huge fuses, not something that you're going to find in any OEM factory fuse box, that's for sure. These are high amperage, a lot of amperage, a lot of watts, a lot of voltage going through these kind of wires. This is something that you'd put on a like an aught gauge or a 2-gauge wire and hooking it up to something like a big amplifier or something like that.
I'm going to throw a couple more DVDs in here. Normally I would skip over to something else, but I think this is pretty funny. This DVD, I'm not sure. They don't give the ratings. I don't know if this would be a triple X or an R, but this one is the world's fastest Indian.
Oh.
And I'll just throw out a couple more because that was pretty fast. There's another DVD, Strange Wilderness, and History of the Eagles, which I bet you that's the musical group Eagles, not the, type thing.
Yeah, definitely. We got time for one more?
Oh, keep going.
Okay. Hey, this one, I got a Sony here. This is back in the mobile electronics, but this one, I'm not sure if this one is exactly, more portable than it is mobile. This is Sony NWZ B173F Blue Flash MP3 player, 4 gigabyte Walkman FM MDR headphones. Well, this thing basically it's an MP3 player, does flash. It's 4 gigs, and it even comes with headphones in it. Looks like it's blue.
So, oh, gee whiz, I just lost it. I was scrolling through here looking at what we had available and lost it. Where is that thing I just saw? It was pretty cool. Well, I'll go to the memory card thing. If you guys need extra memory on your phone, or if you've got an iPod or even one of those Zune players, although I don't know if the Zune will accept it or not, you can often get one of these memory cards and stick it in there, and then just get all kinds of podcasts or Audible books to listen to, and carry so much with you. It's the SanDisk Cruise Blade USB 32 gigabyte flash drive. So this isn't the actual like micro SD card you can put in your phone, but this is a good one you can take to work and plug in the front USB and listen to our shows.
Hey, very good. Always a good idea to upgrade that memory. And if we got time for one more, here's something for the actual Cherokees, guys. This is the Spectra Premium Complete Radiator for Jeep Cherokee, Pioneer, or Wagoneer. Somebody got themselves a new cooling system.
Hey, I thought this is pretty cool. I bet you're already aware of this. I wasn't aware of it. This is a Rhino Pro Heat Shrink Tubes White. I did not know it came in white, Josh.
It did. It does. And I think we had somebody, I thought I saw somebody maybe on chat on xjtalk.com said, hey, if you guys talk about the heat shrink tubing in white, it's mine, and this is what I'm using it for. And I forgot what he said, and I forgot why he said it was in office products too, which was
labeling. He was labeling with it, wasn't he?
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, exactly. He was using it in a labeler for. He was doing some rewiring. That's what it was. Relocating the battery from the front to the back of his Jeep and doing a major system rewire. And with that, obviously, he was probably using a lot of same color wire for a lot of different circuits. And for future diagnosing or troubleshooting or whatever, was going to label some wires. And the white gave him the ability to do that with heat shrink and the ability to write on it or label on it.
Yeah, that would be really, really sweet to be able to actually have numbers, and you just don't want to lose your little cheat sheet as to what it all means.
Mm-hmm.
We just found out what you bought.
Oh my god, I just can't believe that made it on the list.
What a list, Josh. There was a lot of good stuff on there, and we really appreciate all you guys going over to Amazon.com. But first, going to our website, clicking on the Amazon.com banner, and then making your purchases, because it takes you right over there. You just click it, takes you right over there. You make your purchase. Costs you the same as it would, except you get a little more XJ Talk love. You get that nice, warm, moist feeling.
Well, hey guys, this part of the XJ Talk Show is brought to you by Audible.com. If you like podcasts, I know you do because, well, you're listening to this one. Well, there's a chance that you're going to like audiobooks too. I'm an audiobook fan myself. I actually picked one up here recently from another favorite one of my authors, Scotty Sigler. I told you a little bit about him in the last show. I just cannot get enough of this guy. And you can find his stuff along with 150,000 other titles over at Audible.com. And how you get in on the fun, guys, and, well, help another way to support your favorite podcast is head over to www.audibletrial.com/XJTalkShow. Signs you up for a 30-day free trial, and you get a free audiobook. Anything you want. Any one of their 150,000 titles for just about any platform, and it's absolutely 100% gratis. So head over there again. That's audibletrial.com/XJTalkShow for your 30-day free trial and a free audiobook.
Yeah, if you guys sign up for the free trial, let us know. Call into our voicemail and let us know what you got, what kind of book you got, and how you're liking it. No, it's so easy. I mean, they've got an app for your phone, whether it be iPhone, Android. They probably even have it for the seldom used Microsoft phone. All righty, Josh, we get to do our chit chat.
I like this part of the show, Tony. And oftentimes I end up doing a little bit more talking than chatting than you about the Jeep stuff. I've got all kinds of stuff going on, so I'm going to take the reins and go with it today.
Well, let me mention something real quick. I don't know if you saw there in the show notes. I had mentioned, I believe I figured out the issue with the The call-in line.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know if
it.
you can elaborate on that, or if that was maybe just I think, and I didn't know for sure type of thing, or what.
Well,
but
the only problem I have with it, or we had with it, was you weren't able to hear, and I think that was a little button that wasn't pressed. So if we'd like to here I figure in the chit chat section is a good time to pull some people in if they want to call in and be on the show and get in on some of this discussion. If you feel comfortable with that, let's shoot the number out there. Let them know how to connect, and I can pull them in.
Great. That number, guys, if you want to call in, that's a live call-in number. So you could dial these numbers right now and talk with us live on the air. That's area code 267-507-0240. And you're going to need a special code to hook in because, like Tony said earlier, we are cheap bastards, and we can't afford a fancy 1-800 line or one of those cool call screener guys. So you're going to have to dial that number, 267-507-0240. And you're going to need the code 219835 to hook up with us. Again, that code is 219835. It's a conference line code. It's how it works. And it'll get you hooked up to the XJ Talk Show live on the air.
Yeah, and we'll just be chatting along here about our chit-chat, and we'll let us know. I'll check the screen here to see if we got any calls waiting, and we'll jump over there. We'll say, hey, you're on the line. Actually, you'll get a little announcement whenever we unmute you. And that will mean that you're on the air and you can talk to us. We'll probably have to work through a few audio issues, getting the volume up right, since we haven't used this in a while. But we'll get you on there. Hopefully, Josh will be able to hear you.
Yeah, hopefully. If not, Tony will just repeat everything you say, and so we'll go from there.
It'll be like those one-sided conversations for Josh anyway. Really? You were wearing what? Wow! Yeah, so and the cops weren't called.
You guys can be on the air. It'll be the Tony and Caller show. So, well, hey guys, for all of you who have been following us over, since pretty much December, you know that I don't drive my Jeep every single day. I've got another little car. It's a commuter car. It's a Honda car, and it was stolen from me right before New Year's. And long story short, the guy took it on a high-speed chase. He ditched it. The cops got him. And it took me a couple weeks to get my car back. I got it back. It was kind of messed up, and he went to jail for a while. I kept driving my car. Had to do some things to it to get it roadworthy and reliable enough to keep driving it every single day. I didn't have full coverage insurance on it; just had the state minimum. And so the damages that have had to been repaired have come out of pocket, and the other damages, well, it's going to be all basically restitution at this point. I did file for restitution and, in fact, had a restitution hearing last week, which was very interesting because it was not what I was expecting. I figured I'd, kind of stand behind this thing and say a couple words to the judge and be on my way and turn in the evidence and the reports and receipts and everything else I had that kind of determined what the kind of dollar figure the restitution was going to be. Well, it didn't quite go quite like that. In fact, I was actually brought up onto a stand. I was asked a series of questions quite at length by the deputy district attorney, and then was cross-examined by a defense. The guy who stole my car was in the courtroom at the time, and it really took a lot of willpower not to haul off and do something to him. And I know that, of course, that's definitely not the right thing to do, and that's why I didn't do it. But nonetheless, there was several very mean glances his way, and I would have liked to have given him a few choice words or even had a few minutes alone in the interrogation room. But that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is that the restitution was not only approved, but the judge awarded me the amount of basically what fair market value is for the car as it sits today. Because the damages that he had done to the vehicle during his high-speed pursuit or attempt to elude from the police, and whatever else he was doing while he owned the car, while he had the car, exceeded the value of the vehicle. It was around $4,000 in damage that he had done to it, and it's a '96 Honda Accord. It's nothing special, but it's mechanically sound and it gets me to and from work, and certainly uses a lot less gas than my Cherokee. So fair market value was right around $2,000, and that's what in addition to that, what I have come out of pocket so far has been awarded to me for restitution. Now, how does this work? Well, it's a good question because this guy, to my knowledge, has never had a job. He's in his mid-20s and has pretty much spent his entire life in and out of jail and mixed up with some pretty nasty drugs. So there's a good chance that I'm never going to see a dime. Now, it's a judgment. It's an official judgment. It's going to follow him for 50 years. So sometime between now and 50 years from now, if he ever gets a job, pays any taxes, gets a tax return, whatever, then, I'll be getting something out of that. I don't know how much, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get a job while he's in jail. I heard that inmates can do some work to gain some income, but I don't see him doing that either. So long story short, I'm probably not going to see a dime out of this. I'm going to try and follow some other avenues to collect on this. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to entail. I'm going to have to do some research and figure some things out. But nonetheless, if I do end up getting a check cut for the restitution amount, at least half of it, I'm thinking, have some other company or entity, conglomerate, whatever, collect on my behalf, and they give me a check for 50% of what the restitution amount's going to be. Hey, I'm fine with that. I'll take an extra $1,000 any day of the week. And you can best believe that's going to go straight into the Jeep. So I'll make sure to keep you guys in tune with what goes on with that.
Yeah, you got any plans for that money yet?
I'm not going to count my chickens before they're hatched.
Yeah, you are. Go ahead, tell us.
Honestly, if it comes in, there's one of two things that I would like to do, and it would be a difference in axles or tube fenders, and the tube fenders would most likely at the same time with that kind of dollar figure getting kind of worked into with a kind of a pseudo half cage as well, doing an XO cage on that. So the tube fenders, the rock rails, front and rear bumpers would all be tied in together, and that would be the plan for that.
So going back to the axles, because that's kind of the cooler of the two, at least in my mind. Front or rear or both? It
would be both. It would be both. They'd I would probably, for that kind of price range, I could probably get a 48.8 and a Dana 44 all set up and ready to go. Now they wouldn't have air lockers in them,
right.
But they would, and they probably wouldn't even have chromoly shafts at that point. But they would be ready to go under the Jeep. But again, that's just kind of like, it's on the back burner. I've got a 29 spline 8 1/4 in the rear. It's held up very well to everything I've thrown at it. And everything that I've read says it's just as strong as a Dana 44. And on 33s, you can just wheel it all day long and fine. So
that's why I was asking if you were thinking about front or back, and it kind of dawned on me you might be talking about both. So
now with that, I recently picked up. Well, recently I meant today. I picked up some more goodies for the Jeep, and you guys don't know. I recently picked up a set of the HD Engineering shackle relocation brackets for the rear leaf springs. And this is going to do a couple of things. One, improve the ride quality substantially by putting the shackle angles where they need to be. And two, it's going to give the rear end of my Jeep a lot better articulation. And it's one thing that has always suffered on my Jeep in particular is the rear flex. It just doesn't want to do it. And I've always had a problem with it. I've always been fighting it. And there's been times where I really needed that rear axle to sit down, and I get a good 3-wheel motion going on. And I've actually got a couple YouTube videos, one of which will certainly make you pucker. So I'll maybe get some links to those up in the show notes as well, so you guys can check that out. But with that, it's going to raise up the back end about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, depending. I'm already at about 5 inches, so that's going to put me anywhere from 6+ to 6.5. Now that's a good size lift. And I didn't really want, that rake, with the rear sitting at 6.5 and the front sitting at 5 to 5.5, and especially with the winch bumper on there, it's probably closer to 5. So, I needed to level out the front. I picked up a set of, I think they're 1.5 or 1.75 spring spacers from a guy off of Craigslist for next to nothing. There's a guy who was actually local to me, just right up, just a mile or so from where I live. And I made that really convenient. If I don't end up liking these, I'll shave them down, something like that. I work at a machine shop, so I'll be able to just put them in a vise and mill off a nice even 1/2 inch off the bottom of them or something like that, and make these work exactly how I want them to be. So that's all fine and dandy. So that's going to put me up about the 6 to 6.5 inch range of lift altogether, front to rear. And that's fine. That's I definitely wouldn't want to go any higher than that. It's going to be perfect for my 33s. I'll be able to stuff them nice and easy. Maybe when I go to tube fenders, I'll be able to fit some 35s, but it's going to be an axle swap and later on down the road. But so with 6.5 inches of lift, do I really want to continue to run short arms? The answer is no, I don't. At 5 inches and above, the control arm angles are already pretty dang steep. And I noticed it when I was at 3.5 inches. The ride quality was substantially more harsh than stock because of the control arm angles. And that needed to be addressed. Now, I haven't done anything about it until today. Something popped up, and I'm constantly perusing Craigslist. Heck, half of my Jeep has been put together through Craigslist, and the Jeep itself has been bought through Craigslist. So, I had to do something. And perusing through Craigslist today, I found something that I just absolutely couldn't pass up, and it's made by one of our supporters of the show and of the site, Ironman Andy. And if you don't know about Ironman Andy, please head over to ironman4x4fab.com and see what he can provide for your Jeep. What I ended up picking up was a brand spanking new set of his long arms. So I ended up getting a screaming deal, virtually about half off of retail or his advertised price online is what I got these for. Brand spanking new set of double adjustable Ironman Andy's long arms. Now, I don't have a cross member yet for him. So I got to figure something out about that. Most likely be either Rubicon Express, maybe Clayton. If I can make it work, I'm going to have a call put into Andy here probably tomorrow and find out what my options are. On his website, he offers either the Rubicon Express, which I think is what he recommends. I think there's another one up there as well. It might be the Rough Country or something like that. But in any case, I've got one other option. That's going to be custom fabrication. And it's something that I've actually thought about over the years of doing as far as long arms go and going completely custom. Now, this is a deal I couldn't pass up, so I had to hop on it. How I'm going to make it work, well, that's up in the air, and that'll be for another podcast.
Yeah, quick look at Andy's website. I think this is just what you just said, but he kind of recommends the Rubicon Express. Now, I remember when he first came out with the long arms, he actually had a cross member that he built. So he builds great stuff. He goes over it and over it. And if he says buy the Rubicon Express, then that's going to be the best solution for his long arms. But man, I got a set of his upper and lower adjustable control arms. Unbelievable beef, just incredible beef on those things. Love them.
They are extremely heavy. The set that I got, it's like a radius arm setup. So there's one connection point at the body at the frame side, and two connections at the axle side. Versus a 4-link like what you're most typically seeing on a Cherokee. You've got upper control arms and lower control arms both connected both at the axle and at the frame. These are a little bit different style, and obviously they're long arms. And there's some modifications involved, and if there's going to be some welding involved most likely as well. So it's not a direct bolt-on. If you're stepping into long arms, there's very few kits out there that are direct bolt-in. And chances are the path that I'm going is not going to be that way. So we'll see how this ends up wrapping up. I've got some other things to do before that all happens. I'm going wheeling here in, day after tomorrow. So I'll be looking forward to that. And it'll be a shakedown run for my new ball joints.
So if you're not planning on taking the audio recorder, let me throw a reminder in there, and maybe we can get some...
Oh, you mean this audio recorder right here? My Zoom H1 that I picked up off of Amazon.com for a song and a dance. Guys, you got to get one of these if you plan on doing anything here with the XJ Talk Show. It's very affordable. It's a fantastic little piece of equipment, and I have a lot of fun with it. And it produces some excellent broadcast quality audio. If you'd like to get one of these things, the entire kit, including this funky little tripod and the windscreen and everything, were found on Amazon.com, and the price just keeps going lower and lower. I saw it the other day for I think around $20 or $30 less than what I bought it for when I picked this.
Yeah, there's no excuse for you guys not to have excellent audio that you can record for us and fill that third seat.
Almost had to hit the beat button there on that one.
That's exactly right. Hey, let me ask you real quick. Let me back up. Now, the long arm kits, I don't know if any that are bolt on from the standpoint of removing the control bracket mounts from the unibody. You're going to be cutting, if nothing else, and I want to say sanding, flap wheeling it, and painting it to move those things out of the way, because that would be nothing. That would be kind of another not bump steer. What do you call it? A bump stop. The wrong kind of bump stop.
Definitely be a bump stop. Yeah. No, I think the closest thing to direct bolt-in would be the rough country kits. But with any long arm kit, if you're going that route, guys, there is no going back. At least not without a substantial amount of some fabrication involved in putting back the control arm mounts that you're cutting off, and that is the lower control arm mounts on the body side. Those do get cut off. You grind everything flat and smooth. Give it a nice coat of paint for protection, and that's it. At that point, there is no turning back. So, which is another reason why I'm definitely going to be doing some research and making sure I've got all my ducks in a row as far as the cross member that I choose, and making sure that I've got everything ready to go before I start chopping up the Jeep. So even though it's not my daily driver anymore, it's not something that I want to start hacking up the Jeep and it being out of commission for weeks on end while I figure out what I'm supposed to be doing.
So are you a little concerned about keeping the coil springs in there and maybe losing those spacers you're putting in since you're going with the long arms?
Yes and no. Luckily for me, I've got a loading dock within almost spitting distance of my house, so I can pop down and figure out very quickly what I'm going to need to do as far as shocks, whether I'm going to be running out of shock, because there's a very good chance that I'm going to be out flexing my shocks. And same thing with the springs, even out flexing my springs. Now, I do have spring retainers in there, and I will probably even fab up a little bracket or something, just to maybe a couple of little L brackets or something like that to keep the spring spacer up where it's supposed to be. So we'll see how that all plays out. A lot of that's going to be kind of wait and see and see how the Jeep actually performs once this kit's installed and everything. So it's going to be very interesting. And of course, I always do a lot. I take a lot of pictures. I do a very detailed write-up of everything I've done to the Jeep. I've got a full build thread on xjtalk.com. I encourage you guys to go check it out.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, that's the reason why we're here, xjtalk.com. It's a Jeep website, a forum where we all get in there and have a good time and push the technical information back and forth and not talk about the 2014 Cherokee.
Yes. Well, hey, speaking of chopping up the Cherokee and doing some welding and cutting on the Jeep, ordinarily this is about the time of the show where we guys we would get into the Jeep tips. Now, we don't have a call-in or a recorded Jeep tips for you, which isn't too uncommon. Tony and I have done live Jeep tips before, and we'd like to do one for you right now. So the topic of discussion today, I put this out there at the beginning of the show while we were kind of figuring everything out, was, hey, give us a good idea as far of a topic of discussion that we could use for a Jeep tips tonight. And, the consensus popped up of frame stiffeners. Now, as you guys know, the Cherokee does not have a true frame. It's not a body-on-frame vehicle. It's a unibody or a monocoque design. And there's not a whole lot that you can do about that. You can't cut it apart and, put a frame underneath of it, although I'm sure it's not entirely impossible. It's just very impractical. So what kind of options can we do to make the Jeep more rugged? And what are frame stiffeners anyways?
Yeah, what's the purpose?
Yeah, what are they? What do they do? And how do I know if they're right for me? All good questions, and I'm going to go ahead and go through these right now. So what are frame stiffeners? Well, they're not something that you bolt on. They're not something that you can find off of any automotive parts shelf. These are generally either 3/16 or 16-gauge steel. They are custom bent, well, not custom, they are pre-bent and pre-formed to sandwich up on the frame rails themselves. They go around not the frame rails, the unibody, around the unibody rails of the Jeep. Everybody refers to them as frame rails because it's the closest thing you can get to frame rail. It's what the shackles are bolted to. It's what the control arms are bolted to. It's what the cross members are bolted to. It's basically the rib cage of the Jeep itself. It's the closest thing the Jeep Cherokee XJ has to a frame.
Yeah, the body itself is welded. It's part of the body, but it acts just like a frame does.
Exactly. And with that, because it's not a true box steel frame, as the Jeep gets into off-road conditions, off-camber, and you start flexing that Jeep out, well, you're flexing the unibody as well, because you're flexing everything all at once. The suspension isn't doing all the work. the unibody is doing a little bit of the work as well. That's why if you're ever kind of twisted up in some rocks or in a really off-camber position on a trail and you need to get out and get a recovery strap or a tow strap or something like that, and you go to pop open the rear gate and it doesn't open, well, that's why. It's because the unibody, the whole body of the Jeep, is actually twisted enough to the point of where it's preventing you from opening up the doors or closing them properly without it, giving you a loud clang or something like that. So how do we combat this? Well, short of boxing in the entire unibody, you put in unibody stiffeners. And there's a few manufacturers that make these. TNT is one of them. I think Rusty's has a set. There's a few of them out there that make these. Rough Stuff, I think, has a set as well. They're a little bit different. Each one is slightly different. Some use a thicker grade steel. Some use a little bit thinner grade steel. They all do the same thing. And everybody has good and bad things to say about them. There's really not a whole lot of bad reviews on them, other than the ones that are made out of 16-gauge steel don't provide quite as much stiffness as the 3/16 steel ones do. And I'm not sure right off the top of my head exactly right this minute which one is which as far as which manufacturer is offering which one. So what do they do? Well, they stiffen up the entire unibody. They sandwich the unibody from basically one wheel to the other, and it's the whole underneath of the frame on each side. They sandwich it up. Some of them even kind of curve up and tuck up against the floor pan of the body itself, and really you weld these things in. They have several holes that are drilled in them that you rosette weld through them. The whole thing is welded onto the unibody. There's lots and lots and lots of welding that goes on. There's lots of prep work that has to go into these things as well. But once you get them welded on and everything is on and where it should be, a lot of clamps and a lot of jacks and everything involved to get these things put into place, put where they need to be, and then welded into place. But once they're on, you notice a huge difference right away. Do I have them on my rig? No, I don't. Not yet. Another reason why I'm holding off on getting a cross member right away is because I want to add some frame stiffeners as well. And my choice of cross member is going to have to come into play afterwards.
Absolutely.
So another thing that you need to consider if you're doing long arms or you have a long arm kit, you want to do some frame stiffeners. There's going to be some work involved in getting everything to fit right. But oftentimes, long arm kit manufacturers that's one of the things they ask you, do you have frame stiffeners and which ones do you have? Because it's going to determine how that cross member is set up and the clearances for everything as to whether or not that kit is going to work for your rig or not. Now, how do I know if frame stiffeners are right for me or not? Well, it's a very good question, and they're not for everybody. If your rig is primarily a daily driver, meaning 300 days out of the year or more, you are driving on cement, then chances are frame stiffeners are probably not for you. If all you're wheeling in is some snow or some sand on occasion, chances are these things are not for you. If you go on some more advanced type of terrain, some rock crawling even, or you find yourself going to Moab or even the Rubicon frequently, then chances are you would benefit greatly from something like frame stiffeners. And I would suggest doing some research, reading some reviews, and talking with some other Jeepers out there who have frame stiffeners and what they think about them, and giving you some advice as to maybe a direction that you should go. And there are different degrees of frame stiffeners as well. There's ones that go clear from one bumper to the other. It's a 3-stage kit, and I think even HD Engineering has this. It's a little expensive. It's in about the $300 range, but it gives you full frame stiffness. It's basically like as close as you can get to a full body frame or full chassis frame on a Jeep Cherokee. The most common ones are basically right underneath where you're sitting, and that's basically from one wheel well to the other. And even with just that, and an aftermarket bumper in the rear and an aftermarket bumper up in the front, and you're going to notice a huge difference. The vehicle will be substantially stiffened up. You'll notice it instantly, both on the road and on the trail.
Now, I think I'll mention real quick, you did not mention Detours USA frame stiffeners. He does it a little different. I believe that this is something common to the drag racers of the 60s, where they would take rectangular box steel and bolt it to the side of the frames or the unibody to stiffen things up. And, I guess in a way it's bolted. It's bolted. His is held on by the rear well, how would you say it? The leaf spring front bolt. And
the front leaf spring eye bolt.
Yeah. And then a bracket that is bolted up close to the front of the unibody where it starts going up in the wheel well. And then what you do is he's got holes drilled in that steel boxed tubing, and you put spot welds in there to attach it to the frame. Now the nice thing about this is it makes it a lot simpler to install. You get this piece of metal that's at least half the size of the unibody rail that's welded to the side of it. And it also, I think it makes it a little easier to do this cross-member thing that you're talking about, Josh, for long arms, because now you haven't really, depending on where the cross arm mounts, if it mounts on the outside up and on the outside of the unibody, then you got a bit of a problem because these rails fit alongside on the outside of the unibody. Now, the ones I got were not only frame stiffeners, but they were also rock sliders. So my rock sliders are attached to the unibody. So that's the attachment point. It goes straight out. They're also attached to the pinch seam as you get out towards the outside of it. So I've got two major connection points for my sliders, and I really like these. And in fact, I'll mention that Matt, our other admin on xjtalk.com, has done the TNT frame stiffeners. I think that was on his 92, 93 that Dalton bought from him. He actually put the TNT stiffeners welded the whole 9 yards. And right now, he's looking at the Detours sliders, combo frame stiffener sliders for his new 97 vehicle.
Yeah, he shot me a link and some pictures that I don't even know if some of those pictures are online. But he shared with me some pictures and some links, and I didn't even know about this product until just a couple weeks ago. And doing some research on that and looking into it a little bit, my goodness, is that overkill or what? It really is. I mean, taking two great things like peanut butter and chocolate and putting them together. Taking frame stiffeners and rock sliders and putting them together. This is very well engineered. It looks like it's just absolute overkill, and I honestly think it's probably one of the best items on the market right now for the Jeep Cherokee as far as strength, armor, and protection. I don't think you can get much better than that.
Well, I mean, you would have to be doing a lot of stuff to actually get up into the unibody with a rock or something, but having a nice piece of rectangular steel, heavy-duty stuff. Yeah. I mean, I bet you these things with the modifications I had made to mine, because I had a little tube welded on the outside for a little flare, a little extra clearance on mine. Man, those things had to have been 80 pounds or maybe even 100 pounds trying to lift them both at the same time. It's quite heavy and makes cornering easy because now you got a lot of weight down low.
Yeah, you just plant that rock rail against a tree and turn.
Yeah, you certainly can. And I'll be surprised if I do any dents in that thing. And of course, that's why I wanted it. I wanted to make sure that anything that I ran up against after already denting the rocker and cleaning that up and pulling that big dent out of there and covering it up with some diming plate, I didn't want to get back into the rocker, so I got me some good sliders to go along with that.
And just like Tony's saying, rockers, and you can go rocker replacement. That's a whole nother show to talk about. But rock sliders, really, if you're going to invest in any one piece of armor for your Cherokee, really rock rails is the way to go. It's probably going to be the thing that's going to really give you the most protection over anything else at all. And I would highly recommend getting even used some degree of rock sliders, whether you end up spending $600-700 or more on a set of like the Detours ones that incorporate some unibody stiffening into it as well, or you get something off of Craigslist for a couple $100 or less. Really, it's a massive improvement to not only the look but also the performance of your Jeep.
Yeah, I'll mention real quick. I think they're less than $500 in the stock configuration, not including shipping, of course.
Well, hey, guys, if you got an idea for Jeep tips or you'd like to, well, even provide one for yourself, encourage you guys to send us an email at jeeptips@xjtalk.com, or you can give us a call on our 24/7 voicemail line at 530-675-4102.
Hey, I want to remind you guys that we're on Facebook, Twitter, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn.com, iTunes, oh my God, YouTube, and the websites, which are xjtalk.com. And hey, I want to remind you that we have a Jeep Wrangler website too called wranglertalk.com. It's really that simple, guys. All the things that you want to talk about, all the things you want to read about, all the things you want to learn about, and some of them you don't.
All kinds of good tech on there for the round headlight Jeeps as well. WranglerTalk.com. We oftentimes have a Wrangler segment on the show as well. Hopefully we'll be bringing you guys another one of those here very soon. Like Tony said, check us out on Facebook. Make sure you friend us. We are on Twitter, Stitcher Radio as well, TuneIn.com, iTunes. Make sure you guys are leaving those reviews. We need to see some of those here very soon. YouTube every week, 10 p.m. Central for the live show. And, of course, the entire show archive available on xjtalkshow.com.
Let us know what you think about our show. Let us know what you think about our Part 1, Part 2 solution to our cheap bastardness. And if you understand and you go, hey, it's not that big a deal. Also, too, we didn't have a midweek, Josh. I don't know if you're aware of that. I kind of thought that if we're doing a Part 1, Part 2, we don't need to throw a midweek in on that Part 2 on top of it.
That's icing on the cake. We're letting you guys eat your cake. We'll get your cake and eat it, too. So that's just bonus stuff right there. Hey, guys, don't forget you can be a part of the show as well, like some of our regular callers, like Nikki G, for instance, leaving us voicemails every so often. We'll make sure to bring up some of those voicemails next week. You can join in on the fun as well. That number again, 530-675-4102. Always a third seat open for you guys. It could be open for you.
Glad you mentioned those voicemails, Josh.
Hey, this is Tony.
And this is Josh from the XJ Talk Show. We want to thank you for calling our 24/7 voice line.
Yes, we do. Just leave your
I thought it was a professional show until Tony messed up.
There's no guarantee, but we may play your message on the podcast.
Oh, and don't worry about keeping it clean. We'll take care of that.
Now it's your turn to speak at the beep.
Hey, this is Nikki G. And I've got a problem with my clock spring on my Jeep this week.
Oh, God.
I'm having a hard time setting it, and it keeps flashing 12 o'clock. Anybody got any ideas for that? All right, guys. You have a good one. I'll chat you later. Bye.
Did not see that one coming.
Oh, no, that was out of left field. Wow.
Hello? Is this the Oregon Head Start Kindergarten Program?
Oh, no.
Yes, I would like to know what lunch menu is for this week. I've got a taste for those fabulous pizza burgers. Hello?
Oh, man. Yeah, guys, I screwed up and kind of transposed a few numbers on our phone number, and it was the Oregon Head Start kindergarten line.
Oh, that's what he's talking about. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, I looked up that phone number after I foobarred that, and I was like, oh yeah, guys, do not call that number, and I'm not even gonna put it out there again. So you're gonna have to go back into the archives and check that one out for yourselves. But yeah, a little inside baseball there, and thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, that was awesome.
Hey, it's Nikki G. And what do you know? I can hear the music now. I just got an iPhone, and I can hear the music that plays. So I guess your music is Samsung proof. Who would have thought it'd be in my phone? I want to say, first off, say thanks to Josh and Steve. I had a problem with my Jeep. My generator light came on, and wasn't sure where to start, so I just posted up a quick comment in the forum, and right away Josh and Steve responded and helped point me in the right direction, got it solved, and everything's peachy keen now. So thanks, guys. And I'll say thanks to Steve for talking about the sliders. I've been nagging Wendy for sliders for quite some time. And I found his segment very interesting. And on a similar note, I went to Red Robin, and they were serving sliders as an appetizer.
There it is. I was waiting for that.
My question is how do you install them? Because I'm having a hard time getting a weld to stick to the sesame seeds. All right, guys, I will chat you later. You have a good one. Bye.
JB Weld. Hey, how do people get in on the fun, Josh? The voicemail fun?
Oh, God, that voicemail line again, guys, 530-675-4102. And Nikki G, glad I could help out, buddy.
Wow. Deja vu all over again.
Right? Well, that's it, guys. Some voicemails and the show wrap up. We're very glad you guys joined in. Fairly active comment section today as well on the YouTube channel. Again, guys, we are broadcasting the live show. You can see Tony and me in all of our glory. And I'm sitting here just absolutely sweltering in my studio because we've had our first 90-degree day of the year. I do not have forced air, and all this electronic equipment in here and insulation and everything else, and the bright light. Boy, it is just cooking in here tonight. So, you can see us in our sweaty glory, as it were, in our respective studios in different states here on the XJ Talk Show every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Central, or around that time anyways, on YouTube. Make sure you check us out and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well.
Josh, I'm going to go over to Amazon.com. I'm going to purchase you a SpongeBob talent sponge.
Oh no.
And have it sent to you so that you can dip it and then dab it. Actually, you want those little fan spray bottles? That would be kind of fun to watch, you know?
Well, yeah, let's go and put some water mist right over this very expensive microphone here. That's probably work out real well.
But it's for the show.
Fan myself every now and again, and I got a little dabber of a towel here. I gotta wipe the gloss off a little bit, so no big deal.
You need to get a fan in there, man, if nothing else. And I don't mean Nikki G going yay. I mean actually something that's blowing air. That would be funny. I would love. You need to contact your friends as kind of a gag and get a studio audience there to sit in the room with you. And maybe we could set up the camera where you could actually, pivot it over there where they're going, yay, clapping, that would be hilarious.
The crowd goes mild.
Yeah, well, guys, as you probably could tell, we rushed the end of the show. I saw that the 1 hour mark was coming up and went, we can make it. All I have to do is roll that beautiful bean footage. I could roll the audio and Josh would know, and we're wrapping up, and he mentioned the voicemails, and I couldn't leave Nikki G hanging out there. I mean, that's a good laugh. It's a guaranteed good laugh.
Yep, always appreciate his voicemails, and we appreciate you guys as well. Thanks again for joining in on the fun. We'll see you next week.
Have a great Jeep week. I got to see if I can set this damn thing so that I don't have to restart the videos. I have to press the little restart button before I make it active. So it's like two things I got to do, and I'm have a hard enough time doing one thing. So we had a caller on the conference call right after I started it, but that was before we gave out the number, and they actually called in twice. And I think it might have been Orange XJ or Greg, because he had mentioned that he's out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. Right? Oh, okay, that makes sense because it's a 985 area code, which I don't know. Maybe that's Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably a satellite link to another landline that patches in or something like that. I don't know, but. He had said something along the lines of he tried calling in because he doesn't have enough internet bandwidth to watch the show, and so he tried calling in and he heard some mumbles, and then he just hung up or something. So okay, good. Okay. Hey, actually, if there's anybody that would like to call in and help us test out the call-in lines, I don't know. I didn't mention this to Josh. If Josh, if you got a couple of minutes, I forget you're baking in there. It's warm in here too, but it's not It's not so much where I'm actually perspiring. But I was thinking maybe we could take a call and check the levels and see how all that stuff works and maybe have it ready for the next show.
Well, I can see if there's anybody in our xjtalk.com chat room.
Well, we've got people here at the show.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and post up those numbers both in the comment section and on xjtalk.com, right?
Yeah, I was going to do that while, one of those, while you were talking about the sliders, the frame stiffeners, rather, and I couldn't find the damn number. I am going to have to invest in a sticky notepad. If you can, say that number while you're typing it, and I'm going to write it down.
Yep, and the live call-in number, area code 267-507-0240, and the code 219835.
So 267-507-0240, 219835.
Correctamundo.
So if somebody would like to call in and test, the call will be on the YouTube video in the post show. It will not be in the audio podcast.
So you don't have to worry about what is said or how it sounds.
Well, it'll be in the YouTube video, so.
Well, kind of gotta, I guess, care a little bit about what's said then.
Just want to make sure they're aware that it's going to be on the air, so to speak. What's interesting is as we go further and further technology-wise, how terms that were used for decades no longer make a lot of sense, like on the air, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So 267-507-20240. And then the conference call number that you'll hear a message, and they'll say put in your conference call number, and you just put in 219835. I'm sorry, Josh, what were you saying?
I was going to say I still consider it a broadcast, even though it's just on YouTube or a podcast. It's still a cast of some kind, and well, it's about as close to live as we can get.
Yep. Well, it didn't look like anybody from our YouTube stream audience is interested in calling in, or they perhaps have to pay long-distance charges, which we certainly understand that.
They might have called it a night. I've got my cell phone sitting right here, just for grins and giggles.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. Let's. The only thing we won't be able to check is how well you can hear them.
Well, I'll just leave one side of my cans on.
Okay.
Here, let's go. 267-507-0240.
Be funny if it's not working.
Hello. Please enter your 6-digit conference code. 219835.
There you are.
Here I am. I am now unmuted.
Okay, I muted you on the on your microphone.
Yeah, you sound horrible on the conference line. It just sounds like you're talking through 100 fans. It's completely inaudible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could probably hear you better through 2 soup cans and a string.
Okay, does that make any difference right there? Can you hear me at all now? I think Josh gave up on the cell phone, so let me mute this one, bring him back on the other one. Okay.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I muted you on your microphone, your Skype line, so I was just hearing you on the other one. So, a lot of noise or something, huh?
Yeah. So it. Well, now I've got a super echo on my Skype line here. So it sounded like you were super overgained. like you were talking through 100 fans. I mean, it was like you're almost kind of talking like this. I can barely understand anything more than some syllables.
Yeah, I was doing some adjustments, and I think I turned some stuff down. Did you hear any the audio drop any whenever?
No, you said, "Hey, does this make any difference?" And it sounded just as bad, if not worse.
Interesting. Well, I got some time to play with it between now and next week, and I'll probably look at this Skype issue as well.
And I'll be happy to log in one of these nights and give you a hand if you need to. So, all right, I am going to. Oh, there's somebody piped up in chat, and I'm going to go ahead and give them a response really quick.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. Josh called in, and we've got an issue that we need to work out. I guess it's a good thing we didn't have any callers tonight, because we would have had a series of what? You sound like crap. What? So,
well, they wouldn't have been able to hear you now. I could hear the prompts from the system, but as soon as the system connected to you, I couldn't hear. I mean, there was audio there, but it sounded like the microphone was in the back of your throat.
I think I know what it is. The microphone volume in Skype was like all the way down, and I turned it all the way up. So I'll probably just need to turn it down a little bit. You want to call in again real quick?
Yeah, I'll do that. I was going to ask if you wanted me to anyways. Oops. Come on, phone. Don't fail me now. I've got to get a new phone.
Test.
Okay, dialing.
Yeah, actually, I think you'll be able to hear me without or hear us without having me to actually put you on the air, so to speak. So, are you connected now? Can you hear me? How's the volume level? Any difference? I can't hear you because I think you muted your mic or something.
Yeah, I muted my mic. So I can hear both myself and I can hear you, but it's the same thing. It's horribly distorted. So yeah, I mean, I'm getting both audio signals, so at least they're going through. So I can hear myself. I don't know if it's just a repeat through the phone or not, but. In any case, I'm hearing myself, and I heard you. It's just it's horribly distorted.
Okay, I turned it way down, and do you hear any difference on it now?
No, I mean I can hear you in my headphones, and what I'm hearing on the cell phone is illegible. I can barely make out what I'm saying, but I think half of that is probably because I'm saying it.
What is it? Is it an AC hum that you're hearing?
No, it's starting to clean up now. It sounds a little bit better than it did just a few moments ago. But it's like over amplification. It's distortion. It's like turning an AM radio to beyond maximum volume and expecting to understand what you're hearing. It's distortion, and it sounds like overgain distortion. Yeah, it's the exact same kind of distortion that you would hear if you turned your radio up too loud. Now it's starting to clean up now. It actually sounds better now than it has at all in this phone call.
Well, it maybe I had the microphone volume at low for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, I would just bring them all the way through the floor. Just rail them all the way down to zero, or the first notch above zero. You can. I don't know if there was some patching or audio chain routing that got mixed up, or a button that got bumped. I don't know. Do you have a times 10 multiplier on that line on your mixer? Like a 10 dB gain or something like that, where it's just a button boost?
Yeah, that's one of the things I turned off, but that should have been that would be that's what's coming in. So, are you talking on the cell phone still?
Yeah, no, I'm still here, and now I've taken my headphones off, and I'm trying to see if I can understand it using only the cell phone, because I was kind of using both the headphone. I was using both the headphone line and what I was hearing on through the cell phone to try and make out what I was actually hearing. And I'm not hearing anything at all.
I wonder. Yeah, I was just looking at the board. I wonder if I may have it in backwards, because I believe that was some of the jacks that came out, and I'm wondering if I have maybe the.
See, I could hear that. I mean, it would be like almost like a polarity issue.
Well, I can actually play with this using the. Let's see, can I? I just need to go through it and see what I might be missing. So, not gonna figure it out. At least I got an idea of what I need, where I need to look. It's strange. It probably is something simple like that. At least you can hear yourself now. I figured
at least I can hear both sets of audio now.
Yeah, I figured that out. So that was one little button over here by the slider that wasn't pressed. It was going to the main, but it wasn't going to the sub. So that means that you didn't hear it, and it would not have gone to the YouTube broadcast, because I'm using the subs to send out to YouTube. Anywho. Alrighty. Well, I think we're going to wrap this up, and I appreciate you guys being here tonight and watching our show live. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for finding us here and taking the time to watch this video, especially to the very bitter end. So we're going to wrap up this post show, and Josh and I are going to record the often maligned promo. So I'm joking. It's never maligned, at least not that I'm aware of. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll say goodnight. We will talk to you next week. And I would venture to say that we'll probably be on time next week, or a hell of a lot closer to it. Because
we'll certainly shoot for it.
Yeah, because as far as I know, I'm not going out of town. This trip this week was kind of a last minute thing, and it was okay. I guess it was the 5-hour trip from Houston to down in South Texas, past Corpus Christi. I mean, if I went any further south, I'd be in the Gulf of Mexico or Mexico.
Oh boy.
Anyway, you guys have a great night. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be seeing you next week. Like I said, have a great Jeep week.
See you guys.
So that was an hour and 58